Doncic is back in. Oh, LeBron! Oh! He reached back and then threw it down with the left hand.
LeBron James is 41 years old and still soaring above the rim, like he somehow turned back the clock. Most people around that age are dealing with aches and pains from everyday life, but he's still out there throwing down highlights and embarrassing defenders on the court. It raises an interesting question. Is it simply elite genetics at work, or is modern sports science playing a major role behind the scenes? And before we dive into the training methods, recovery routines, and supplements, let me ask you this. Do you believe LeBron is truly the greatest player of all time, or is he the most advanced experiment in sports performance the NBA has ever seen?
By 8, LeBron!
This crowd's happy now.
Let's take a moment and think about what we're actually watching. That play against the Washington Wizards wasn't just another highlight. There was LeBron charging toward the basket, carrying over 2 decades of NBA wear and tear on his body, and somehow he still rose up, cocked the ball back with his left hand, and hammered home a dunk that looked straight out of his prime years. Now consider the numbers for a second. The typical NBA career doesn't even make it past the early 30s. Most players are out of the league around age 33. By the time many superstars reach 35, the decline is usually obvious. Look at legends like Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Dirk Nowitzki. Near the end of their careers, every movement looked more difficult, as if their bodies were carrying the weight of countless seasons. LeBron, on the other hand, is at an age when most retired athletes are settling into media appearances, business ventures, or a relaxing golf schedule. Yet he's still logging heavy minutes, pushing the pace in transition, and competing at an elite level night after night. It's enough to make you wonder whether he's discovered the secret to slowing down the aging process. Or perhaps the real answer is much simpler. Maybe the millions he's poured into his body and recovery are helping keep the clock from moving quite so fast.
If the world understood what LeBron did, like other basketball players will hear what LeBron does and go, well, yeah, but that doesn't matter, right? It's like a baseball player. You're hitting a stick out of the way. It doesn't matter. It's like, no. If you knew what these performance enhancers did, then you would know why it does matter.
What do you think he's
there's
doing?
only one. We have the same drug guy, if you will. I know exactly what he's doing. But there's only one golfer.
Please tell.
There's only one golfer. I'm not going to. But there's only one golfer that follows the big three. The big three is EPO, growth hormone, testosterone. That's the Lance Armstrong diet. There's one golfer, but it's Tiger Woods. Like, yes, it does matter. People will say it all the time. It doesn't matter. John Daly won it. It's like, it matters. Trust me that it matters. EPO matters. It's the reason LeBron takes it. It matters. And if other basketballers understood what it did, EPO increases your red blood cells, which gives you endurance so you can play all game long. You can shoot in the fourth quarter just like you shot in the fourth.
More red blood cells, more oxygen in your red blood cells. Okay, got you.
It's the king of performance enhancers.
You've probably heard the polished, media-friendly version of this story before. According to Maverick Carter and the LeBron camp, around $1.5 million is invested every year into maintaining his body and performance. It's a nice, easy-to-believe figure. The kind of number that makes you picture organic meals, cutting-edge recovery treatments, cryotherapy sessions, and a team of elite trainers making sure every workout is maximized. The message is simple. Spend enough money on recovery, follow the right routine, and maybe you'll age like LeBron too. We're expected to think that with a few $1 million, a hyperbaric chamber, and access to the best specialists on the planet, anyone could still be throwing down highlight reel dunks at 40+ years old. Sounds straightforward enough, right? And of course, we're told that every recovery tool is exactly what it appears to be on the surface. That hyperbaric chamber is just delivering extra oxygen. That mobile recovery setup inside his customized Mercedes van is simply another example of modern sports science at work. No mystery, no secrets, no hidden ingredients, just technology, discipline, and an enormous commitment to staying in peak condition. At least, that's the version of the story we're usually asked to accept.
I want to know for the people, man, who are watching, what would this mean for LeBron James's legacy if this is true? He's on this, Balco, this new juice. I want to know, man. Like the way he slipped it in and he said it.
Control Alt Delete slip. What?
Bams, relax.
Damn.
Control, Alt, Delete.
Damn. That was almost as bad as Darvin Ham when he said whip it out. Huh?
Yeah,
that was crazy. My bad.
Crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But the way KG said it and the way Paul Pierce reacted to it, it's kind of like, we knew about this. Like, he didn't say, whoa, what are you talking about? Like, there was no reaction to it.
Now, let's get into the rumors that have been circling around the king for years. You probably remember the biogenesis scandal from 2013. That's the investigation that brought down stars like Alex Rodriguez and several other Major League Baseball players. Years later, additional federal documents became public, and one particular connection caught people's attention. It wasn't LeBron's name that surfaced directly. His circle is far too careful for that. Instead, attention shifted towards someone very close to him, longtime friend and business associate Ernest Randy Mims. Now, to be clear, having a friend connected to a controversial clinic doesn't automatically mean you're involved in anything yourself. That would be a huge leap. But critics have pointed out that it raises questions, especially when the connection sits so close to one of the most physically dominant athletes the sport has ever seen. It's a little like discovering your roommate spends all day working as a world-class chef while you're somehow enjoying gourmet meals every evening. Maybe it's completely innocent. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But it's the kind of coincidence that tends to get people talking. Then there's Chael Sonnen. Chael has built an entire career on stirring controversy and getting reactions, but he's also spent decades around professional sports and combat athletes. Whether you agree with him or not, he's never been shy about sharing his opinions when the topic of performance enhancement comes up. And when he started making comments that fueled speculation around LeBron's longevity, the conversation only grew louder.
You guys know what a dry snitch is? Have you heard that term? A dry snitch is a lingo on the streets. And you know what a rat is. A rat is somebody that gets in a jam, but if they have information on somebody that's bigger, you can take the cheese, you can give that information up, you can get yourself out. Okay. But a dry snitch is where you're not in a jam, there's nothing on the table, and you just offer a guy up. Sorry, you just offered him up. And I gotta tell you, so a couple of months ago, I did Andrew Schultz's show, and the topic of LeBron James have come up. LeBron James and EPO.
Then the conversation took another turn when Chael Sonnen made some headlines of his own. During a podcast appearance, Sonnen claimed that he and LeBron were connected to the same performance specialist. He even referenced EPO, the substance that became infamous in endurance sports because of its ability to boost stamina and cardiovascular performance. The comment immediately caught attention because Sonnen wasn't speaking in vague terms or dropping subtle hints. He was making a direct claim that naturally fueled more speculation around LeBron's remarkable longevity. Sonnen's broader point was that athletes don't maintain elite levels of size, power, and endurance deep into their 40s by accident. In his view, there has to be more to the story than diet plans, recovery sessions, and expensive training programs alone. The implication was clear. What people see on the court may only be part of the equation, while a great deal of sports science and advanced performance optimization could be happening behind the scenes. Of course, claims like these remain allegations and have never been backed by public evidence proving wrongdoing. Still, they continue to generate debate because of how unusual LeBron's career trajectory has been compared to most athletes in professional sports. And when you watch him racing end-to-end late in games, attacking the rim, and still moving with incredible energy after logging heavy minutes, it's easy to understand why some observers struggle to believe the explanation is simply superior conditioning and hydration. Whether you see it as proof of extraordinary genetics, relentless discipline, cutting-edge recovery methods, or something else entirely, the discussion surrounding LeBron's longevity doesn't seem to be disappearing anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything he can do to damage his career at this point, to be real with you.
Yeah.
Unless he legitimately gets busted for steroids or any type of peds.
100%.
Think back to LeBron's years with the Miami Heat. That's when the image of him as a physical force of nature really took hold. He didn't just look strong. He looked built on a completely different scale from everyone else on the court. Every season, he seemed bigger, stronger, and somehow just as explosive. What made it even more remarkable was that the added size never appeared to slow him down. He was logging heavy minutes, making deep playoff runs, and then representing his country during the summer without showing the kind of wear and tear most athletes experience. The level of durability almost seemed unreal. Compare footage from that era to what we're seeing today, and the differences aren't nearly as dramatic as you'd expect. Maybe he's lost a little bounce. Maybe he's not quite as explosive as he was in his absolute prime, but the power, speed, and overall athleticism are still there in surprising amounts. That's where the debate begins. At 41, the human body is supposed to be moving in the opposite direction. Muscle mass becomes harder to maintain. Recovery slows down. Hormone levels naturally decline. Most athletes spend more time managing their bodies than dominating games. Yet LeBron continues to perform at a level that challenges conventional expectations. Another topic that often fuels speculation is how quickly he seems to recover from injuries. There have been multiple occasions when an issue looked serious enough to keep him sidelined for weeks, only for him to return much sooner than expected and appear completely refreshed. Whenever that happens, people inevitably start asking questions about the treatments, specialists, and recovery methods available to elite athletes with virtually unlimited resources. The story of spending $1.5 million a year on his body has also become a major part of the conversation. Supporters point to it as proof of an unmatched commitment to fitness and recovery. Skeptics see it differently, arguing that the figure has become a convenient explanation for every physical achievement that seems difficult to understand. Their argument is simple. If cutting-edge training, nutrition, and recovery technology alone can produce these results, then why aren't more veteran superstars experiencing the same level of longevity? Why don't we see every aging star maintaining peak athleticism well into their 40s? Eventually, age catches almost everyone. LeBron's physical transformation throughout his career is another reason the discussion never goes away. As a rookie with the Cleveland Cavaliers, he was already an elite athlete, but his frame looked noticeably different from the one fans saw during his Miami years. Over time, he developed into one of the most imposing physical specimens the league has ever witnessed. Normally, carrying that much additional size comes with trade-offs in speed and mobility. Yet LeBron somehow continued to thrive in both areas. The broader conversation extends beyond basketball. Modern anti-aging science has become a billion-dollar industry, with wealthy entrepreneurs and professional athletes investing enormous sums into recovery, longevity research, and experimental treatments. That reality naturally leads some observers to wonder how far elite competitors are willing to go in pursuit of extended greatness. Of course, it's important to separate speculation from evidence. Despite years of rumors and theories, no public evidence has ever proven that LeBron has used banned performance-enhancing substances. The debate largely exists because his longevity is so unusual that many people struggle to compare it with anything they've seen before. Critics also question whether professional sports leagues have strong incentives to aggressively investigate their biggest stars. Supporters counter that extraordinary genetics, discipline, nutrition, and access to world-class resources can explain much of what we're seeing. And that's why the discussion continues. Some people see LeBron as the ultimate example of what happens when generational talent meets unmatched dedication. Others believe there must be more to the story behind one of the longest and most successful careers in sports history, until concrete evidence emerges one way or the other. The debate will likely remain one of the most controversial topics in basketball. In the end, the biggest reason the debate never goes away is simple. LeBron's longevity feels almost impossible. After more than 2 decades in the NBA, he's still making plays that most players half his age struggle to make. While many legends slowed down dramatically in their late 30s, LeBron continues to compete at an elite level, leaving fans wondering how he's managed to stay so dominant. Supporters point to his discipline, recovery routines, and massive investment in his body. Critics argue that those explanations don't fully account for what they're seeing on the court. The result is an endless debate between those who view him as a once-in-a-generation athlete and those who believe there's more happening behind the scenes. What makes the story even more remarkable is that he's now sharing the NBA stage with his son, Bronny James. LeBron has lasted long enough to play across multiple generations of basketball, something very few athletes in any sport have ever achieved. Of course, It's important to remember that speculation is not evidence. Despite years of rumors, no public proof has ever established that LeBron used banned performance-enhancing substances. What remains undeniable is that his career has challenged traditional expectations about aging in professional sports. Whether you see him as the ultimate example of genetics, discipline, and modern sports science, or you believe there are unanswered questions behind his longevity, one thing is certain: we're witnessing one of the most extraordinary careers basketball has ever seen. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more NBA stories and analysis. See you in the next one.